Buying a car in Carvana was so easy. I was able to finance it through them.
Whoa, wait, you mean finance?
Yeah, finance. Got pre-qualified for a Carvana auto loan, entered my terms, and shot from thousands of great car options all within my budget.
That's cool, but financing through Carvana was so easy.
Financed. Done. And I get to pick up my car from their Carvana vending machine tomorrow.
Financed.
Right, that's what I said.
You can spend time trying to pronounce financing, or you can actually finance and buy your car today on
Carvana.
Financing subject to credit approval. Additional terms and conditions may apply.
It's Pro Savings Days at Lowe's. Get up to 35% off select major appliances and save an additional $1,000 when you buy 4 select LG major appliances. Plus, get a free DeWalt 20-volt max 5 amp-hour battery when you buy a select DeWalt 20-volt max tool. Get the job done for less at Lowe's. We help. You save. Valid through 9/26. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See associate or Lowe's.com for more details and qualifying items.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Welcome to The Shabby Detective, yet another Columbo podcast. I am your host, Mike White. Joining me is my very regular co-host, Chris Eshu.
Very regular. Not an art critic, though, but a regular here down at, well, I would say at Bert's Cafe, but unfortunately it would seem that we're never going to revisit our dear friend Bert.
It was nice knowing you, Bert.
But art, the world of art criticism and art critics and who's wearing gloves, I'm a fan of that.
We are talking about Suitable for Framing, directed by Hy Averback, written by Jackson Gillis, aired originally November 17th, 1971. This one stars Ross Martin, who, legend has it, was Peter Falk's camp counselor and encouraged little Peter Falk to be an actor way back when he was just a little kid. I don't see the age difference being that huge between these two guys, but Ross Matthews, who commits a murder in the first minute. I think this might be the earliest murder we've seen.
There's not even dialogue.
Just a little piano.
Ross Martin shows up, shoots his uncle. There you go. That's it. But the way the episode starts, just fucking coldest of cold opens.
Start that crazy music. I think it's some harp, and you zoom in on these paintings, and boy, oh boy, will these paintings play a big part of this episode.
Right out of the gate, I find the world of art and kind of art critics and art criticism, obviously adjacent to what we do in a lot of ways, but I find it very interesting because, again, if this show, which it does, lean into bad rich people being bad, as they tend to be, I really like that we're already 6 episodes into the first season and we're already at an art critic and a big art collection. I like that because it's just like stereotypical rich people shit. Like, he has a big art collection and I want it for myself. Like, awesome. I get it. Like, I'm on board. I understand the premise right out of the gate.
I think this might be the first time we have a villain who has an accomplice.
Yeah. No.
I take it back. Prescription murder. There is an accomplice.
But she, in that episode, is the crux of the How Ketchum. In this, not so much. In this, it's that thing that you kind of mentioned before, which was the Jack Cassidy crime of convenience. To shut him up, to shut her up, as you do with your accomplice, I guess.
Though I don't know if Ross Martin as Dale Kingston, I don't know if Dale Kingston was really ever going to keep Tracy O'Connor, played by Rosanna Huffman, from what I understand, the wife of Richard Levinson, so convenient casting there. I think that he was probably going to get rid of her from the get-go. I don't think that he was planning on flying off to Acapulco with her.
No. Ross Martin in this episode, I wanted to like him more, and the only reason I wasn't as hot on him as I have been on other actors in this show, at least the quote-unquote villains, he's not given a whole lot to do. He's kind of just go be kind of. I mean, again, really go be kind of smarmy, but he doesn't go as far as Eddie Albert does. He really does not go as far as Jack Cassidy does. And I kind of wish he had gone a little farther. I mean, I get that it's kind of they're reining it in, but Ross Martin he's a bastard from the get-go, but he's just kind of like, I don't know what's going on. Isn't that weird? Like, it's just like a lot of like playing dumb. Like, he spends most of the episode playing dumb.
For me, this is one of my favorite episodes to see just how desperate the criminal becomes. And especially just, my God, Columbo plays cat and mouse with this guy so well. And he is just batting Ross Martin the whole time, just leading him down the correct path. I mean, the whole thing is undone 15, 20 minutes into the episode. I mean, it's pretty darn early that Columbo gets his literal hands on the evidence, and the rest of it is just, I mean, they plant that early. They plant that, right after Ross Martin kills his accomplice.
Yeah, it's very early on.
Not a lot of style in this episode. There are some good things. I mentioned those zooms on the paintings.
Reminiscent of the first episode, I would say, in a lot of ways.
There's the murder of the accomplice, which takes place kind of interesting as far as him picking up a rock and braining her, and then the immediate cut to the lights of his car. I like that, and I like that it's not really overdone. Like, we don't get any of the stuff that we've seen, which I can't say is overdone. Like the culp glasses or the murder of Lee Grant's husband or any of the stuff that Spielberg was doing. This is pretty plain Jane, but the story is so strong.
This time, it's more about the machinations after the fact. What is he up to? What is he trying to do? And Ross Martin, you find out, is trying to frame his aunt for his uncle's murder, so that when she goes to jail for murdering him in the will, he gets everything, because I guess you don't get things if you murder the person.
Yeah, you can't murder someone and then
claim the will.
Though that is a surprise that she is the one who's getting the art collection. You assume from right at the beginning, he killed his uncle just so he could get this art collection. But yet, he knows that it's going to happen. And so him trying to frame her being suitable for framing, is just such a wonderful twist and something that as a viewer, you just don't expect.
And that, like you mentioned, that is kind of what pushes this episode into a direction of me kind of putting it above some of the other ones, the kind of lesser ones that we've seen, because like I said, the after murder plot of where the character is trying to push the investigation is pretty interesting. It's pretty novel comparatively. I wish, given how good every villain for the most part has been on this show, I just wish Ross Martin had been written a little bigger. But he couldn't be given on what he's doing. Like, he has to play dumb. The requirement of this character is you are going to be playing dumb the entire episode, because you are trying to frame someone else, so you have to be dumb.
Yeah, he plays it pitch perfect to me. And like I said, I'd like to see how the world unravels, because he just thinks that he is so in control of everything. Him setting up his alibi. And I'd like, again, too, that they do a little bait and switch with us when it comes to the alibi, because as soon as he murders his uncle, here comes the girlfriend, here comes the accomplice, and what do you know, he's going to go to this party and see Vic Tayback as this kind of beatnik artist. And I can't remember the name of the lady that plays Mrs. Kravitz from Bewitched, but she's there and arguing with him that it's the wrong shade of pink for this painting's the wrong shade of pink for it to be in her bathroom. And just this whole weird, like you were saying, art world is going on. Ross Martin says something about, the changing times. And he's like, oh, and speaking of, and then you think that the line dies, but then Tayback finally picks up on it. It's like, yeah, he's like looking at his watch and they establish that it's 11:05. Well, then Columbo goes and interviews Tayback later. And what do you know? He doesn't remember any of that stuff because he was probably smoking that wacky tobacco.
Or drunk off that delicious champagne. I like that. That's so smart. He's like, what time is it again? Did you guys notice that clock over there? What does that clock say? It's like, dude, you're trying real hard. Like, you're trying to place yourself here at what time again?
And you think that his alibi is now blown, only for Columbo to then talk to the valet and realize that he went through even more of a show with the valet around proving that there was nothing in the car, this whole I lost my cufflink thing. So I'm immediately thinking of Culp and that fucking contact lens.
Right. In the trunk of your car, sir. Why did you have your cufflink in there? I tossed it in there. Oh, okay.
I wanted to keep my top coat back there in case it was stolen. And Columbo with that nude model. Oh, I love that. I loved how uncomfortable Falk was playing it.
But she was into it. Come back. She was like, come on back. It's the shabbiness. It's that jacket that really does it. It's the jacket.
The other thing that I love about this, and I had to rewind this and I watched it 3 times last night, is they say that he has met Ross Martin's Aunt Edna, played by the one and only Kim Hunter. So they already have set up that Columbo knows her. He ends up meeting her outside of the law office where Don Amici is, which is great to see Don Amici. And he starts to talk to Aunt Edna. Kim Hunter steps on his line and won't let him finish. And if you look at him, he starts to smile when she steps on his line, and she just keeps carrying on with this whole prattle that she has. And watch really closely because he breaks out into a huge smile. His face is almost turned so that you can't see it, but he is just having the time of his life acting against Kim Hunter.
Corpsing. He's corpsing.
So good.
I mean, again, when you get talented actors in the room together, even if the shot is blown, it's not really blown, as long as the other actor doesn't give up the ghost. And he doesn't. Sign of a good actor. Everybody always talks about fucking Tarantino and Kerry Washington and Django Unchained. Same thing. It's the same idea. And I really like when directors kind of notice that something has been kind of amiss, but they still are able to make something of it. And yeah, look, it's a testament to the ability of these actors, right? I mean, Don Amici steals every scene that he's in this, 100%. And it's smart giving him the role that they gave him, which is the executor of the will. So he gets to be there for kind of the big, oh my God scene where, yeah, like you said, turns out Ross Martin knew he wasn't getting those paintings, unbeknownst to us, the audience.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure, Lieutenant, you expected to find me out having
Such a scumbag. What a
but
fucking
I knew
scumbag.
10 days ago. Look at this letter that I just happen to have in my pocket here.
He's such a scumbag.
Oh, I love it. I love it. The way, just the pacing, I've talked about all of these like bait and switches, and this episode is just great with this, Oh, Vic Tayback doesn't remember what time it is. Don't worry, the valet does. Oh, he's not going to get the art collection. Don't worry, he was setting up his aunt the whole time. And just that he keeps pushing. Oh, here's the gun. Here's the paper.
Yeah, the wrapping paper behind the trash can is some real scummy shit.
I love it. And then him talking to Columbo, and Columbo's just like, yeah, she's innocent. She couldn't hurt a fly.
Yeah.
Like,
oh,
yes.
But you don't know. You don't know her the way I do, Columbo.
And you just see the wheels turning in Ross Martin's head. He's just like, no, he has to do this. And what do you mean he hasn't searched inside the house? And how can he not suspect her? Of course she's guilty. I have to point her. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to Don Amici and I'm going to have him go above Columbo's head. I'm going to have him talk to somebody down at City Hall, and I'm going to go in there and I'm going to fucking plant some shit and make sure that this is an open and shut case. Fuck you, Columbo. I'm the smartest guy in the room.
He tried. Almost got away with it too, if not for that shabby little detective.
Tell me your feelings about the end of this episode.
I was shocked at the lack of time in between the credits and when the episode effectively ends. It was like 5 seconds. This is entrapment! Ah! Da-da-da-da! Like fucking, yeah. Columbo with the gloves, episode's over. It was so good, right? The shit-eating grin on Columbo's face. He's like...
You know what's suitable for framing? That fucking image of Columbo holding his hands up with the gloves. I fucking love that. That's the screen grab, man. It's just him kind of like, what do you want to do with me? Yeah, he's got and those gloves on there. Oh my God.
You saw him touching it. He was touching it just now. Ba-ba-ba-da-ba. Fuck you. This is the, all of the kind of the twist moments have been fun. You have the one where it's Robert Culp in the back of the car. You have the one with Jack Cassidy. But, oh man, this one is just like a big go fuck yourself. Like, this is the best reveal that we've had on the show so far, I think.
This whole thing of fingerprints, it's something that Link and Levinson were playing around with, but they couldn't really get it. And then Jackson Gillis comes in here and comes up with the perfect way to put this in. And the writer, Jackson Gillis, had been doing mysteries and stuff. I mean, he had done Perry Mason and Mission Impossible.
Hardy Boys.
So many things this guy's done. And he just plays this out like he is a musical virtuoso. He doesn't always bat 1,000. He's got some real clunkers in here. There's at least one episode that, to me, it's one of the least Columbos that you can possibly get to, which is, well, we'll talk about it when we get there. But he does have some real winners in here because I think he ended up rating 9 episodes altogether. They're a little uneven, but I have to say this one for me is top. One of the tops. And this is one of those things, man. I love the first episode, love the second episode. I'm just talking about season 1. First, second. That last one we talked about was a real dud for me, but boom, we just bounced right the fuck back. And this for me is one of those tops.
I agree. I'm right there with you. And, it jumps the line on a lot of things we're used to. We don't get to know anything about Rudy Matthews, the uncle character. He literally exists to die. We know nothing about him. He gets no lines of dialogue. He's kind of alluded to a couple times in the episode, but the murder victim given no time, not important. This really is all about Ross Martin and kind of what he's up to, which is, again, kind of him just being unrepentant turd, like almost every character that's a villain on this show is. It's like when given the opportunity to do the right thing, they continue to just plumb the depths of their depravity. I don't see how he could have gotten away with it either way. I think if he had gone to court, I don't think she would have gone to jail. I think it probably would have just maybe been unsolved. Maybe. But man, that reveal at the end, just you really think he's going to get away with it. It pushes it to the last possible moment.
Oh, how much do I love when the police captain is like, well, it's Lieutenant Columbo's case. And Martin just starts to lose his shit right then. He's like, what do you mean? No, it's your case. It's your case.
Don't fuck around with Columbo, man.
No, his captain knows, man. His captain knows. You got to give it to Columbo. Let this guy do his thing, and if somebody comes sniffing around saying, get this Columbo off the case, that's when you push harder. That's when you're like, okay, Columbo, you got something on this guy. Let's go.
So we always talk about it in the show, on our show, about the show. When do you think Columbo knew that Ross Martin was the killer? Because we kind of have seen it a couple times in the show. Not in every episode, but in some of the episodes, there's kind of this inflection moment where you're like, all right, Columbo's in on it for sure. Because you could make a case he's in on it from the beginning, but more to the question, when in the episode do you kind of think that Columbo was like, all right, I'm kind of on to you there, pal?
I'll tell you, man, I think it is just a few minutes after he comes in. He comes up and he's just like, I have a problem. Right? That's one of his very first lines of dialogue. I've got a problem. Why would you grab the DeGroat rather than a beer and bomb.
One is worth a bunch, one is worth nothing.
And it's like, why does Columbo know who these artists are?
And how much they're worth.
Exactly. And then the way he plays dumb when he's just like, oh, a Degas, huh? Oh, a pastel, like the kids use. I'm like, oh, you fucking know Degas. You know all of this shit. You can probably point to any picture in that room and tell us who that artist is. I don't know why they don't write their names so clearly.
See here in the corner of this one, look at this signature. Columbo, you fuck. Like, god damn it. Like, it's just in on it immediately. Like,
I mean, and I think the whole thing with the female cop running down the steps, I think that's all just a show. And that's the thing about this that I love so much. When I was rewatching it again last night, they keep having cutaways to Columbo and sometimes Columbo and other people where, and especially in that end scene, but in other scenes as well, where somebody's talking over here, somebody's talking over here, and you just get Columbo looking from left to right, looking from one person to the other. And it's just like this tennis match. He is the audience, and there's even a moment where I think there's people in the foreground talking, and then there's Columbo in the background talking with somebody else, but basically watching what's going on. So like he's farther away, but watching, like basically mirroring us watching these people in front of us. And I love that. But yeah, I say as soon as he comes in, he fucking knows Beer and Bomb. He knows these artists, and it's just like, why would you take the DeGroat? I don't know.
Yeah, his antennas are up from the moment he realizes that all the paintings that are expensive are still there. Because yeah, and any real thief would steal them and then sell them on the black market, which they kind of talk about, like, what do you do with paintings if you steal them? Like, you got to fence them, and it's like much easier just to get them legally.
And just the way that he pressures Ross Martin as far as like, oh well, they would probably go to somebody like you. Do you mind if I put a tap on your phone?
Oh my God. See, that for me that was the moment. That thing where he asked him about the tap on the phone, I was like, well, he's got him now. Like, he's like, you have no reason not to, right? He's like, yeah, I guess not. Like, if I say yes, is that a problem? Like, oh man, he fucking had him. That's when he tightened it around his head. He was like, I got you now. Because then he knows he's going to have to figure out a way to circumvent having his phones tapped.
And that's the problem with the girlfriend calling too. And that's another one of those tricks that I like in this episode. Sorry, I keep going back to that. But when he goes to talk to the landlady, oh my God, what's her name? Mary Wilkes, I think is the lady that plays, the landlady. From what I understand, reading, one of the books last night, I think it was David Koenig's, this episode came up short as far as time went. So this whole thing with Mary Wilkes is added in because she's basically just monologuing and he's there pretty much not saying anything. And she just is going through that album of all the photos. And then she finally gets to, oh yeah, this is the girlfriend's older boyfriend that you think for sure is going to be Ross Martin. No, it's some other dude.
Some fucking guy. Like when she revealed it, I was like, was that supposed to be Ross Martin? Like, what is, like, this whole episode has these really weird, again, stylistic choices of, like, fake outs. And they haven't really done that in the show. Most of the time, if Columbo goes to talk to someone, they go, I saw X at Y, and they were doing Z. In this episode, we have two separate opportunities for that to happen that then continue with Columbo going and meeting some more characters instead, who he ultimately gets the information from. I don't think he ever confirms that Ross Martin and Tracy O'Connor were together, though.
He figures this fucking out, man, that she was in one of his art classes, which is just amazing. And that he's got the photo and shows it to him. I've never seen that woman in my life.
Mr. Columbo, I don't remember every student I've had. I mean, to be fair, most teachers don't. Unless they're banging him, which he was.
How awesome was it that after he brains his girlfriend, he comes home and fucking Columbo is there sleeping in his living room?
Mr. Columbo, what are you doing here? Is it nighttime? Is it nighttime? Yes! You fucking ass, leave my house! I love how Ross Martin, who is the killer, who is forceful enough to kill his uncle, is such a fucking wet rag with Columbo. I guess you can tap my phone. Here's a key to my apartment. I mean, again, I know if he doesn't do those things, as do you, he looks suspicious, but it's just funny how Columbo just like gets him immediately, just right by the short hairs, like, and just doesn't let him go.
I mean, Ross Martin is such a bitch that he is allowing Columbo to get phone calls at his house. You know, it's like, oh, it's for you, Lieutenant.
Yeah, he's a very different villain from what we have seen so far. He, again, in not being as forceful, he turns in a more interesting performance than, say, Eddie Albert's kind of just doing the same thing we've seen before. There's more going on here in the background that we get to see than normally when we don't get to see it.
Eddie Albert carried himself with such authority because that's what he was given all of his life. You know, him being this military man and just grabbing this power and working his way up through the ranks and all that. Whereas Ross Martin, yeah, he's an art critic, and yes, he's respected. He's even got his own TV show, but then you see the way that he treats people, and you see like the way that he slags the hostess. You see the way that he's slagging off Vic Tayback. You see the way that he's like talking to his producers of that art show. You know, would you cut away from me when I'm done talking? I always stand here like I've got egg on my face. And I'm like, yeah, you have to talk down to everybody. You are a little man in a big world, and you want to be a big man in a big world, and you just cannot do it. And that's how he gets pushed around so much.
He's just sitting there and jumping at the counter trying to get at the kid from the kids table to the adult table.
He's Jerry from fucking Fargo. You know, he thinks that he is smarter than Marge Gunderson, but there's no way in fucking hell.
You know what? I like Ross Martin in this. I haven't seen him in a lot of things. I'm a fan of Wild Wild West, the movie, not so much the TV show. Exactly. You get it. The TV show or the movie? The movie, obviously. But he's really good in this. I mean, again, his character is written in a way that he's meant to be kind of a wet rag. So, a wet rag willing to kill, though.
Yeah, he finally thinks that he's going to be that big man, and he thinks he really gets there. He gets close, and he just keeps getting it snatched away by that little shabby guy that comes in is just, oh, how dare you upset the apple cart? I've got everything perfect here.
Yeah. Realistically, I don't think it's as waterproof or as watertight as he thinks it is. But in this country, he probably still would have gotten away with it, realistically. I mean, I just assume anybody who doesn't get caught by Columbo is going to get away with it anyways. Because for the most part, their murder plots are well thought out. They're well constructed. Because Columbo just happens to be Deus Ex Columbo in a lot of ways. He knows things that people don't even know themselves sometimes. It's interesting. But that's what I like about the character, is the character needing to be that smart to outwit everybody else, but looking like a schmuck again, that's what this entire show's predicated on.
Yeah, that's why he gets to look all flustered around the nude model. That's why he gets to just, ask all the dumb questions and just act like he is the biggest schlub in the world. Oh, like what the kids use, those pastels.
Yeah, he disarms you.
Buying the blue horse just to see the reaction that Ross Martin gives, I love it.
He really does a good job of short selling himself and misdirecting everybody. I mean, again, who knows what Columbo is like when the cameras are off, quote unquote. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's much different from the person we see when he's on the case. We don't really get a sense of that anyways, because we have only ever seen him on the case, and I assume we really only ever will. It's interesting because, again, like, that disarming nature is so different from everything else that we have watched together. Kolchak's not like that. Kolchak is not about disarming. He's about being kind of a dick and kind of, doing the whole Fletch disguising yourself thing. Columbo just disarms you with, you think that he's a dipshit. Clearly not. He knows that. I mean, he realistically knows everything, is the way it seems. He's a learned guy.
When he passes judgment that somebody's innocent, I think we talked about this before, he passes it all the way. So he's just like, Edna is innocent and that it's like he's trying to protect her, but at the same time, I think he's pushing Ross Martin to do the whole dog and pony show at the end. Because I think Columbo needs that. I think he needs that big moment just to be able to pull everything out from under Martin and just completely ruin his day.
I 100% agree with you. He has to make sure that without a shadow of a doubt, Ross Martin has buried himself up to his eyeballs, right? It's not good enough if he buries himself up to his neck. He has to bury himself up to his eyeballs. And that's what he does. And he literally gives him rope to hang himself with. And he's just like, here, I'm just going to keep letting some more out. You want some more? You want some more? You want some more? You want some more? And he just goes for it.
That we go back to the oldest trope in the world, the fucking fingerprints, but in this one, it pays off so well that it's not the suspect's fingerprints, that it's Columbo's fingerprints, and he's the only one that could have left those fingerprints on those paintings.
The fact that he goes, well, it's not your fingerprints. I handled those paintings in your house when I first came to the scene. And here they are again, and you're claiming that they were stolen, and here they are.
How would that have happened?
How would that have happened? How are my fingerprints on this painting? Yeah, you know that Ross Martin is sitting in a cell. His character is sitting in a cell kicking himself.
How did I let this little prick get it over on me?
Yeah. And there's plenty of cell room in San Quentin for all of the people Columbo has caught. Eddie Albert, Ross Martin, fucking Robert Culp, Jack Cassidy. They're all sitting on a fucking row together. That goddamn shabby bastard, little bastard Columbo. Ah! And they're all screaming about it. Because again, he outsmarts everybody.
I'm surprised they never had an episode where somebody comes back to try to get him.
Yeah, but that's the thing. If you were writing Columbo now, you would do that. You would give it a mythology. You would give Columbo a reason to do what he's doing. They don't really give a reason. He's just a cop. And you would also have some sort of underlying mythology that the show has to stick to, because shit, Kolchak did it. Not very well, but, Columbo's wife died. It would be like Monk. Columbo's wife died. He's trying to solve the case, and that ties into the overall structure of the season. And and then the next season you would have, all these people that Columbo got fucking caught, or, something. Yeah, I know why they don't do it here, but man, like, that's compelling, I think. That would be a compelling episode of this show, or kind of even a season of, like, someone that Columbo has caught getting out and, like, making trouble. But then that's a different show. That's the benefit and the negative of this show, is it does have kind of a strict structure in that you can't deviate from showing the murder first. You can't. Mm-hmm. Then it's not Columbo, right? Then it's literally probably any other one of these shows, really. Rockford. I'm assuming most every other ones of these shows don't show the murder and who did it. Perry Mason didn't.
I'm trying to even think of other Lincoln Levinson things. Like, it's been a hot minute since I've seen a Murder, She Wrote. But I think that's more of a whodunit than a how to catch 'em.
Yeah. So, that's a different show completely, but it does kind of beg the question, what would that look like if it was, someone who Columbo had caught already or something, that could be interesting. But, they're all on death row somewhere just, like, screaming about Columbo. The shabby detective, this rumpled, who brought you in, this rumpled jacket wearing motherfucker.
And there's going to be a lot of cases where we say, that probably wouldn't hold up in court.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, Ross Martin brings up something that we kind of haven't talked about yet. Some of this is entrapment.
Yeah.
Especially, like, the Robert Culp thing. That was big time entrapment. Like, he's probably not going to jail for that.
Though he should.
Well, that kind of goes without saying.
We know what's going on, but proving it in a court of law is going to be a whole different thing.
Right. Well, and like you said, probably wouldn't hold water because, again, some of the tactics that Columbo uses are questionable at best. But again, you want Columbo to get the bad guy, so what does it matter? He's a fake cop anyways.
So we're going to see Ross Martin again in an episode of The Night Gallery, but that'll be a ways because that's season 2. So I'm not sure how long it's going to take us to get through all of the Night Gallery.
Long time. But he never comes back for this, though.
This is a one and done for Ross Martin, even though, it is an unusual villain. Very unusual that he is so not conniving. It's not a crime of passion. Very, very thought out, almost to his detriment of how far he's thought this out, because he has to kill the uncle. He has to get rid of the girlfriend. He has to frame the aunt, and all of this not knowing that Columbo's going to be on that case. Because had Columbo not been around, maybe he really could have done it.
Because his plan was pretty good. I mean, not only did he know he could frame, and nobody saw him frame her. So, aside from the fact that Columbo knew the fingerprints were on there, he would have gotten away with it.
Aunt Edna's kind of a dingbat, and she proves that just with that way that she interacts with Columbo. And I mean, God, Kim Hunter, just what a performance with this. I love how just flighty and crazy she is in this.
She's great.
And she's not overdoing it. It's like you could function in the world being this person. It's not like she's a lunatic. She's just a little, fragile is how they describe her. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I can see that. She's your kooky aunt,
Right. Who maybe killed the uncle to get his paintings.
But then when she reveals how he had that change of heart, I really like that. It's just like you were talking about this world of art collecting and how he had gone from this is a great investment to no more people should see these paintings. These shouldn't just be locked up in my house. People need to see these. I'm going to give them to schools and museums. And she's just kind of like, oh my God, it's going to take so much to do this, but it's going to ultimately be worth it. I mean, I imagine Don Amici was going to help her out.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's funny. The entire idea of like stealing an art collection, which you then have to spend large amounts of money to maintain, doesn't seem like a very well thought out plan there, Ross Martin. What was he going to do? Sell them, I guess? Or just have them?
Yeah, he's kind of like Smaug in his big pile of gold, and just going to sit around his house looking at these, probably toasting his Remy Martin at him or whatever.
Yeah, I guess selling them off one by one to pay debts. And what is Ross Martin's end game? Because they make a very distinct point of saying, like, this is not a cheap endeavor to keep these paintings. So I guess he was just selling them. It would be a little suspect. All of a sudden, he's got all these paintings. He's like, I'm just going to start selling each one. Like, okay.
He probably had another phase to his plan where he's going to pay an art forger to forge the paintings, and then he'd sell the originals and keep the forgeries or something. This guy he had an answer for everything.
Circles within circles, spiraling all the way down. Yeah, at times you feel like he's got a great plan, but then you realize like one singular grain of salt gets in the cogs and it just falls apart completely. Well thought out to a point until Columbo shows up.
And just proves the best laid plans.
Yep. Often go astray when you've got a guy in a rumpled jacket.
And that awful brown suit that he really gets to show off. This one, I mean, we get a little bit of the car, but we don't get car jokes. Obviously, Dog is far away. We'll see him later on. I mean, we've got the cigar and the whole cigar smoke thing. Please don't smoke in here. Mr. So-and-so is very fussy. But it's like we get maybe one mention of the wife, but this really doesn't rely on those trappings of Columbo. The biggest thing that we get is what we've already mentioned, which is the playing dumb, the whole, I love when he puts the hand on the back of the head and he just starts rubbing his hair up there like he's just so distraught. I fucking love that.
You ever think he's so good. Peter Falk is I mean, again, it would be a shame not to bring him up every episode, but he's so goddamn effortless. Like, he is Columbo. There is a reason Columbo's never been brought back, because I don't think Darren McGavin could be recast as Kolchak. I think you could. I mean, again, they tried, but man, I don't think you could ever recast Columbo. Like, it's just intrinsically part of who he is. And Columbo is as much of Peter Falk as Peter Falk is part of Columbo. He was an actor who was in a lot of things, but nothing ever came close to Columbo for his notoriety. Or, in a lot of ways, what made him the actor that he would end up being because he would work on the show for so long and take so many breaks. And it kind of, from the way we've talked about him before, it kind of informed the way he wanted to be an actor in a lot of ways. The show is a product of that because of the way they did the show. It's not a serialized weekly show. It was on the wheel. So I like Peter Falk. Every episode we say the same fucking thing. He's great. What is there to say?
Not a whole lot more.
Yeah, he's a great actor, even in Corky Romano.
I fucking love Corky.
I love Corky Romano too, but it's weird that Peter Falk's in that movie.
I think he's great. Peter Berg is great. Chris Penn is fantastic.
Right.
I love Chris Kattan. I mean, that movie just works for me.
I'm with you. I like that movie. And Take On Me is like featured heavily in that movie for whatever reason. I have not seen that movie in probably 15 years, but I remember Peter Falk factors heavily into the film and into the film's climax, where I believe he pretends to be dead to get a confession out of his lawyer. Is that right? Son? Something like that?
Something like that. Yeah. It has been a hot minute. I guess we're probably due for a rewatch.
Corky Romano rewatch incoming.
Too bad I haven't been doing those live screenings anymore. That'd be a great Friday night feature.
That's a good one. Corky Romano, and then I don't know. What are like Peter Falk, I don't really think about him as a screen actor. I think about him as like a guy who was in TV. So Corky Romano, Robin in the Seven Hoods, he was in that.
Well, we'll talk about the in-laws once we get to that point. We should probably talk about Murder by Death at some point as well.
Ah, yes.
That's the better version of Murder Can Hurt You.
Of No Jack and Co. One could stand to reason we should cover No Jack and Co. But like, I don't think we should. Like, we could literally just post my episode that you and I did together. But like, that was my initial introduction to the Columbo character, was Burt Young doing Columbo, which, looking back on it now, it's like spot on. It's the best part of that movie. He's so good as Columbo. Like, you could make a case that Burt Young could have done Columbo in another universe and been rather successful. He plays that kind of character, the down and out, schlubby dude, just as good as Peter Falk. Maybe better, frankly. Burt Young plays the schlub. I mean, I always think about him in Chinatown. A lot. But that's that schlubby character. And in, No Jack and Co., they portray Columbo as a schlub because he is a schlub, and they kind of go way further than the show does, but he's still pretty good Columbo, I think. I don't know.
I mean, I propose that as we go through this adventure, we look at A Woman Under the Influence, Murder by Death, Mikey and Nikki, Cheap Detective, The In-Laws. I mean, at least those. There are a few more that are mixed in there, but I'm just not familiar with them. Things like Griffin and Phoenix, or I haven't seen The Brinks Job, I don't think. That might be good. All the Marbles, which I think is a roller derby movie. I mean, I'd be up for that.
With Peter Falk?
Yeah. I think we should probably, like, chronologically, when it makes sense, take a side trip and visit some of these movies.
Are you thinking that I was going to say no to what you're proposing? Because you could have just proposed it outright. I would have said yes. I'm never going to say no.
I didn't think that you would, but...
I mean, let me put it this way. The Columbo podcast that you're listening to now technically took like 3 episodes to get to the show, because we opened it with Crime and Punishment, which is a movie that most people, when they looked at the RSS feed for our show, probably went, why are they covering that? We made a very good case as to why we're covering it. And I would say that any movie that has Peter Falk in it that we think is worth covering is just about as good at any reason because it's got Peter Falk in it. Right? I mean, we're not going to watch every goddamn Peter Falk movie because that's too many.
That's the Falk cast.
Yeah, whoa. I mean, you could make this the Falk cast. I mean, Columbo podcasts are essentially Peter Falk podcasts anyway, so. But I don't think anybody's doing Peter Falk movie podcasts. No, I don't think that's happening.
No. Nicolas Cage, sure. Not Peter Falk.
No, which is a shame. But if we have the chance to talk about it, why not?
So, Chris, what has been going on with you, sir?
Over at the Culture Cast, just talking about movies once, twice, sometimes 3 times a week. Who knows? You like working? So do I, Mike. There's plenty of movies to talk. Finally, new movies are coming back to theaters. Only in theaters, even, one might say. Fucking streaming? What is this? The pandemic? Yeah, so talking movies once, 2, 3 times a week. Scary stories we tell. All of these things, Dreams for Sale, other things that you and I work on, Barney Miller, there's a Kolchak podcast out there, cstachiw.com, cstachiw.com. That's my link tree. Go there for all the stuff that I've mentioned and much more. What about you, Mike? Where could people find you when we're not talking Columbo?
Well, you can always find me over at the Projection Booth, which is available at projectionboothpodcast.com. And it is Sci-Fi July, so we're going to be covering all kinds of science fiction films. You know, because we never talk about science fiction on the Projection Booth at all, ever. So this one time, Kay, you can ask me about my business.
Oh my God.
Otherwise, that's it. I'm going to have to close the door on you.
Haven't you done sci-fi like every year in a row for like the last 3 years?
We do sci-fi all the fucking time.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's one of my favorite genres.
I'm with you. I had someone tell me, quote, "You don't cover enough new movies." My response was, so?
And?
Do you know how many new movies there are versus movies that have come out? Shockingly large amounts of movies, right? Shockingly large amounts of movies. Granted, I know people want to hear about new movies, but come on, folks.
There are so many podcasts that are covering new movies and, you know, and a lot of classic films as well. And we'll get to some of those classic films, but, you know, you gotta talk about some things that not everybody in the world is talking about.
I advertise my show as a cinematic trip on off the beaten path. And I think your show is in that same vein. A lot more educational, but we're talking about things that people normally don't get to talk about and aren't getting enough love. And things like Corky Romano factor directly into that camp as far as I'm concerned. So if you don't think that we're bringing our sensibilities from our shows to this show, why are you here?
Lowe's knows how to get you ready for holiday hosting with up to 35% off select home decor. And get up to 35% off select major appliances. Plus, members get free delivery, haul-away, basic installation, parts, and a 2-year Lowe's protection plan when you spend $2,500 or more on select LG major appliances. Valid through 10/1. Member offer excludes Massachusetts, Maryland, Wisconsin, New Jersey, and Florida. Installed by independent contractors. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com for more details.
Have you ever wanted to dive deeper into the horror movies you love? Beyond the Blood is a horror podcast for fans who want more than just surface-level screams. We do deep dives into the movies that shaped us, digging into director commentaries, behind-the-scenes stories, deleted scenes, and the special features that most people skip. Each episode is a love letter to the genre. We break down how these films were made, the creative risks that paid off or didn't, and the lasting impact they've had on the genre as a whole. From 70s slashers to modern nightmares, we celebrate the craft, chaos, and characters that keep us coming back. If you're the kind of fan who rewatches movies with the commentary on, or you simply grew up in the video store horror aisle, the Beyond the Blood podcast was made for you. New episodes every single week. Subscribe, and let's dig deep. Welcome to the Beyond the Blood podcast.
Hello, this is Aaron West. I am the author of the A24 New Wave. In this book, I look at A24's output and I make the argument that we are in a new wave movement right now. A24 plays a major role. This book has a supplemental podcast where each episode is a brief conversation about an A24 related topic, whether an actor, director, or even a genre. As I continue research for the book and conduct interviews, I expect to record podcast episodes with people involved with the company. You can find the podcast at cinejourneys.com or wherever you find podcasts, and we are proud to be members of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.